And we're back with another episode of Lord of the Rings, The Third Age. I'm your host, the RPG Guy, and let's move. As my famous little saying is, this game is not going to beat itself. God, that scream is awful. It's just so loud. Oh. Alright, but orcs as it is. But I don't think any of them actually can do anything stun-wise, so let's go with Extalion Wrath and just take out this captain right away if we can. Didn't take hit. Oh, no, he's still there. But he at least can be picked off next round. And then we don't have to deal with it. And since Hadhod's a little behind in his skills, we'll leave him in right now. Because he will be good at taking out some of these enemies with his melee skills. Remember, we don't need to focus on his magic so much anymore, as really now we're playing kind of a mini-game of catch-up with his offensive skills. And luckily, the game is designed in a way that he hits so hard, even his weakest skills are practically one-shot kills. So, kind of bails us out of some of those issues right out the gate. Because I feel like that's a good thing there. And you can see these orcs are getting more and more resilient here. Another reason why Hadhod's a good option to have in right now. There's Wounding Strike. Probably put Elagos in the front row as well, if I'm not going to use him as much right now. The characters' levels are evening out. Barathor gets 3rd Age Rohan Steel Longsword, so maybe finally he'll get a better sword. I live because of you, but you must save the surviving warrior who still fights on in our village. So that's 40 versus what? 41 and 3. This is 40 plus 4 per level. So this is probably going to do a little bit more damage. Just a little bit, or even a hair less. But it gives a better stat benefit, so we'll change it out. I think it's time to change that out. Like I said, we're going to put Elagos in the front. Right now, I'm more inclined to use Hadhod. Until except in certain fights where Elagos would be a better option. Now, here in the Rohan area, this village kind of set up here, as you can see, everything's a bit more spread out. Again, making it trickier to find good items and whatnot, because if you're not actively looking, you can easily miss stuff.
Hurry! A warrior is trapped here!
And let's do this. And you can see that now this character Morwen is with us. I think we could at least stun one of these guys. And then now we got Dual Axe and Thiefcraft. Warg and Uruk-Bane, right? But not, and she can haste herself. So that's kind of a nice little combo there. There is a negative, and you're going to find out very quickly what it's going to be in just a moment here. Once we get more control, but we don't want these orcs to get too many turns here. Alright, one orc down. 2 to go. Nice. Ooh. Missing doesn't help. Morrowind gets a Rohirric scouting helm. She just wanted to ask him a couple questions.
I can only kill them once.
Is this your village?
It was. Most are dead. Many of my friends and family have fled this place. Where are they
Does her
bound?
boobs have
I know not.
jiggle physics?
Perhaps the ford? And south to Edoras.
That is our road.
Then you may join me.
Yes, they
Let's
do.
find them. What do you carry that makes you worthy? Wrath, ruin, a few trinkets. That is all that remains of my life here.
She's destined to be a murder hobo. Alright. And thus, Morrowind joins the party. So we get some... Now, her dex is really high. We don't need to do much there. What we need to do is increase her resistance to a few things, I guess. But it really is going to be more into things like Constitution. And you notice her stats are just awful right now. She's very weak to slash damage, and she's weak to piercing. One of the things we're going to have to do is take that slashing stone off of Elagos at this point and give it to her, because just she needs it. He's got armor, action, pierce. Give him his... Does he have health on there? Give him the health one back. And then for her, put on that scouting helm, because her armor is even worse than frickin' Elagos. So, damn it, that sucks. So we need to put in the slashing defense, armor enhancement, health, and action. The action is kind of iffy, but makes sense to me. There we go. Now she's only really weak to piercing attacks, which would be archery. Yeah, that makes him weak to slash, but we can't really get around it. The other thing, too, is if we look at levels, she's 4 levels behind the rest of the party. So easily she now becomes the candidate for the person in the front row. We're not done yet. Let's look at her skills. Her skills are interesting. Rage of the Maiden is being worked on, which is fine. Does a lot of damage. Poison Wounds is DOT, damage over time. Twin Wounds, you know, it's like, wait a minute. Doing increasing damage over time or does great damage over time. So why would you need both of these when you could just have one? The other thing is her skills are really good. She gets Orc Bane really late, which is weird because she gets Uruk Bane or Warg Bane and Uruk Bane. She gets Battle Haste, which is great because then she can just haste herself pretty much. Sneak attack cannot be countered attack. Paralyzing wounds. Stunning cleave is delaying. Warren strikes 4 times with Wrath of the Penmark. Glorious cleave attack that always hits. Orc Bane, and then Rohirric Rampage 6 times. Now, that's interesting. This is something to consider too. Is her thief skills. This one's a little tricky, but she can steal XP, steal dex, steal health, and action. She can actually drain casters of all of their AP, kind of like Gandalf did. So she's much like Leech Inspiration. She can steal AP as well. I've never understood C's skill, other than it maybe doubles that her SP when she gets. So she gets 1 point for it, and plus what she steals, which is usually 1 point. So I'm assuming C's skill just levels all this up faster, and that's a theory. I've never really tried it, and it's something we might keep our eye on. I'm not too worried about it. But her axe skills are really good. She's a very good kind of glass cannon-like character. She's definitely glass cannon right now because she has like literally no skills. She has literally no gear, pretty much. So she's very vulnerable. And the thing is you kind of have to use her, or you're gonna get screwed. So this is a thing where I mentioned in the, like, at least probably the last episode or so, about having characters grinding skill points in it again, and this is one of the reasons why we would have to do that, is to work on Morrowind here. The question becomes what to work on. Well, the big thing out the door is this Thiefcraft stuff will come on its own, because when we sit and do a grinding session, we can sit there and just run C's skill near a save point till she learns a bunch of her skills, and technically she could learn them all. I'm not going to probably go to that extreme to get there, but it's pretty straightforward that that's something she could do. Does she need to do that? Definitely not. So that's something to do. But that's, you know, it's interesting that that's an option for the character. But yeah, building up her axe skills is going to be paramount. And what we can even do is when the party's working on their skills, we can easily have Barathor and Hadhod working on... Barathor working on leadership, Hadhod working on his magic. Same with Elaghost, for example, working on his skills. Now you might say, why is that a thing? And I think I mentioned earlier, you can see how many spots there are in the character list. And you see that with Morrowind in the party, there's only one spot left. Which means, yeah, we're going to have to do this all over again. We're going to have to level up pretty much another character's skills. But that's not for some time, so we're not going to worry about that. We'll worry about that when we get there. And I would argue he's one of the harder ones to level. You know, Morrowind's pretty easy to level her SP, her thief skills, but beyond that, they start running into little hints of trouble throughout trying to level her up. But yeah, keeping her in the party and keeping her in the lead of the party is going to guarantee she gets all the XP she's ever going to need to get her kind of caught up here. She's 4 levels behind, but it should be, like I said, she should catch up rather quickly. I'd be surprised if she didn't catch up within this chapter with the strategy that we're promoting. The catch is, though, again, is that some of the other characters like Hadhod and she's already out of SP. Hadhod and some of the other characters are gonna have some trouble catching up as well to characters like Barathor and Elaghost, because we might just because we're constantly putting Morwen in. Idriel's our healer, so you get that feeling that it's not in your best interest to put either of them in, but at some point you kind of have to. See, she can't do any more. She technically can steal again. This is risky. Still got the credit, though. She's gonna die. That's okay. We resurrect her and she gets her AP back. Idriel ever gets a turn. For some reason, she's really slow all of a sudden. Yeah, that's a very powerful resurrection ability. And she's the only one that can do it. Oh my goodness. Just missing left and right aren't now. Probably need to start opening up battles with company Valor. Just because of all the missing that's going on. Alright. I believe that's going to make us change locations, so let's come back this way. We don't want to necessarily change locations yet. There's a save point right there. See a chest, but I worry that we cannot reach it. Let's save. It's very easy to want to take her out of the party, but like I said, we'll keep her in for now. So she's got to get those delicious levels.
Your riders gather near Helm's Deep. Eomer will join you there.
There we go. Let's keep moving along here. As soon as we get to a point where we start seeing random encounters, we may have to start working on Morwen sooner than I thought. Yeah, we're already running into them. Let me just check out what's over this way. But yeah, it's just getting her skills up and everything is just such an important task. I can't stress it enough. She hits hard. For being under leveled, she hits as hard as Barathor pretty much does. Let's go with some delicious healing. Let me still in it too. They're hard. They're tough. Like the game's difficulty just skyrocketed. She comes pre-installed with counterattack. So that helps a little bit, but not as much as it seems, because it makes us lose control of the battlefield pretty much. It's a double-edged sword, as they say. Because we're mostly fighting orcs too, we could pull out Hadhod to a degree, now that I'm thinking about it. Let's head back for a second. We're gonna have to do a little bit of grinding with Morwen here. It's because she's not very good, and our whole party is actually suffering a wee bit. Just in general. I didn't mean to use that on him. Yeah, it's in our best interest to not get our asses kind of handed to us, and the enemies are strong right now. And again, like I said, a lot of it's because, now here's a theory, you could throw Morwen in the back for a little while, and then not use her for X amount of time, but I just don't see why you wouldn't want to use her right away and get her caught up. And then maybe the theory behind why you wouldn't is because she's kind of weak, and you need to find a safe place to kind of build her up. And I just say just build her up here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing it. She's totally capable. And with Hadhod throwing up Mountain Shield, that's, you know, and Idriel in there to deal with the damage offsets and whatnot, it should be fine. And really, it's just making sure we get Morwen to learn her thief skills, especially the stealing of HP, because that'll help her give her her own self-recovery, so to speak. God damn it, I didn't mean to do that. That's okay. These enemies down to about 1, and then we can start stealing from them. Look at all that damage she takes. And a part of that, she's just not geared up. So that's an element of it, too. Okay, but now that that dude's by herself, we can throw up... And then we can literally sit here and see skill. It's 1 SP for the doing and the 1 SP for it, so I would assume that she gets 2 SP for doing that every time she does it. Let's do... Battle Haste. The turn comes up more often. I wonder if we can stack it with Haste of the Elves. Makes you wonder. Hadhod Taunt. He's gonna run out of AP though at some point. You can see a pattern here. Stop missing. It doesn't matter. We gotta win this fight now anyway. I can use this, I guess. May as well. It didn't matter. And there's capture strength. And the battle is won. Morwen levels, Hadhot will level, Adriel will level, Elaghost will level, and Bareth already did. And again, we just gotta, now her level ups are nice because they're clearly bumping her up pretty good here, but it's still not enough. Let's put it there. Let's look at what she's working on now. So Rage of the Maiden's 4 away from being learned. And then we gotta choose between Twin Wounds and Poison Wounds. Again, they both come off the same. Now, here's the thing, is I don't care about Sneak Attack that much over Paralyzing Wounds. So if worse comes to worse, if we need to skip something, we'll skip Poison Wounds and Sneak Attack. Though the benefit of going this route gives us to Wrath to Penmark faster, but we also get Stunning Cleave. And then, so, it really just depends. I think, you know, we could get them both outright and just try them out. That's probably what we're going to do. Steal Action Points is going to be very useful. Clearly, she's going to burn through all of her AP seizing skills, so then she's going to need Action Points to replenish all of her skills, the seizing of the skills. Again, I couldn't monitor whether it was 2, but we can start checking that out going forward here. As then she'll start picking up Steal Action, Steal Health. The other option is to go right to Steal Health and then get Steal Experience, but Stealing Action is such a useful skill for her. It'll pretty much finance all of her AP that she'll need to do her attacks and whatnot. So getting the AP benefit right out the gate's going to be paramount to her not sucking. Yeah, we're gonna leave Hadhot in. I keep wanting to call him Gimli. He's really just a Gimli clone. She's almost learned Cleansing Waters, and once she's learned Cleansing Waters, we'll skip Valorious Haste and go right to Gift of Greyhaven. Water Stallion's kind of iffy. It's fine, but we'll pick up Valorious Haste then. A skill that I probably have no intention of using. Along with, what was it, Valinor Endurance. But yeah, she's almost there, but because we need her healing all the time, it's not really a good time to take her out of the party. At the moment. With Elagos, we can work on Elagos Ranger Craft by using Kingsfoil Grace to help him learn Grace of Athelas and Pierce Spirit at some point. Pinning Shot will get there because we're going to be using a lot of Creature Bane and, some of the other skills in here. Shield Piercing is going to be a big one. That lowers the melee defense of an enemy. That's an easy one to level up on. So yeah, getting to Pierce Spirit is going to be a big one for Elagos. And I do want him to learn Grace of Athelas because AoE health regen is always fine. And since we're using Hadhod, I almost said it again, we may as well learn Flames of Ruin, and I don't care about Dragon Calling. He'll learn that when he learns it, kind of a thing. But yeah, getting Durin's Wrath done and then getting into Spirit Cleave is going to be big, because lowering an enemy's spirit defense is going to go a long way here. We have Rampage of Durin that allows Hadhod to strike 4 times with Smite, an attack that always causes a critical hit. I know, it's tough to choose between, because Berserk is interesting, but it lowers his defense but increases his speed for a short time, meaning he'll get his turn to come up more often, which is somewhat useful. Spirit Cleave is more useful, and then these 3 are the most useful. And actually, Mountain Hewer might not be as useful as it sounds. And then Flame of Ruin, again, it's an upgraded fire spell. From there, I think, we got a plan. Where she's working on Elven Rage, and that's fine. And like I said, she's almost got Cleansing Waters, which really means we need to start working on Barathor's leadership. No, we don't, really, because we're doing okay. He's almost got Royal Grace, which is pretty much the same thing as what the Athelas skill. It's just a auto regen skill. So he's almost there, and then we gotta decide between what's more important. Reduce the action points of all actions. Yeah, we want to get to that, so I would say, Last Gasp is pretty good. This, not so much. We could skip War Cry and just go boom, boom, boom. Or you get a more useless skill and go right to Captain's Inspire. And it reduces the action point cost of all actions taken by your group. And then you immediately follow that up with frickin' Fellowship Grace. It's pretty nice. Quite nice. Yeah, you know what? We'll go this way around, I think, though, because Last Gasp is important. Company Power is okay. Captain's Inspire is really good, and then Warcry is trash. So that's as far as I'm concerned. And then we'll pick up Targeting and Stunning Strike. Probably Targeting Strike, if anything. And we may not even pick that up, because really, all that's necessary is to eventually learn Gondor Rampage. Stunning Strike, there's all types of characters that can do stun attacks, so for him to do it too is just another novelty at that point. We have like I said, we have other characters who can do it. Learning Northern Storm would be good because it causes heavy damage over time to multiple enemies. That'll be nice. Fangor Roots, don't remember that being that great. So getting Grace of Athelas is good in Pierce Spirit. So we have a game plan here, and it's a grinding plan, because that's what I'm going to be doing. That's why this episode is going to be short, because we really need to get Morwen up. Now, like I said, she's going to be collecting some gear, but if we can at least get her to a little closer to level, even if she's only 1 to 2 levels, or even 3 levels behind, at least she's a little closer. The other element, too, is as she levels up, her stats go up, too. But my big thing is making sure that outright she learns Steel Action to as much as Steel Experience. Cloak of the Plains is interesting and is kind of useful for development issues. And because if she is actually learning them 2 SP at a time, this really takes 15, so 30, a little more than 15. That takes 30, and then that takes 45, I think, or something, or a weird number like that. So, or 32 and a half, whatever it is. But what's nice is that she could master a lot of this really quickly, and then that would be really, 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 really And see here, allows Mormon to attempt to drain dexterity from her enemy and add it to her own. It's not a permanent boost, I don't believe. I mean, if it is, that'd be nice. But it's not I don't believe it's a permanent. It's just for the battle. But again, this is not as useful initially, other than she just starts getting so many turns. So there's a way you can break the game with her in a weird way if it's in a long battle. You have her keep draining dexterity, and then you have her keep draining strength, and then she uses steal action to replenish her AP, and then she just starts wailing away on the enemies. And then theoretically that would be a very interesting set of means to power her up a bit. But yeah, it's a process like anything. This is a long, drawn-out kind of process to get not just those skills, but to get her kind of situated to where I'm comfortable with the skills that she has and we can move on. And there may even be a point where we want to tackle this again just in case I feel like she needs a few more skills. And that's just going to happen. And whatnot. So there is an element to this that we have to address, and when we get to that point of addressing it, we'll make a decision there. But I'm going to see right now if 15 of those she learns a skill. If she does, she is getting double SP, which means she's going to learn her steal skills real quick. So we will check. I will check. I'm genuinely curious if she'll learn it or not. So maybe we'll use the rest of this episode to test that theory. While Hadhod throws up protection for everybody, and Idriel just keeps using her healing to learn cleansing waters, and then from there we can bring in Barathor at that point. But yeah. And then Beefcraft. Actually, what we should do is kill off the enemies first. After the stronger ones. It's a shame that it didn't matter. And they both got crits, yeah. I think we'll kill off the ones with the crit ability. They've already worn off Idriel's freaking benefit right away. He's down. Oh, come on, Hadhod. You can't miss that, man. There's Rage of the Maiden. At least he's dead. What is that, 2 maybe? What we can even do is let's bring in Barathor, why not? Use Fellowship Grace. I'll give Hadhod some AP back. Three. 4. Five. I screwed that up. Cleansing waters. I'll bring in them nuts in a minute here. That's 6. Only be 1 or 2 more of those, and then we should be good. It only takes 7 or 8 steals, and then she should learn it, in theory. If that's actually what it's doing. Yeah, I don't think that's what it's doing. Mechanically. Or no, it's 15, so we're at 7 now, I think. Never mind, I've totally zoned out for a second. No. It's not that she has 15 to go, she has 7. She has to do it 15 times. Well, that's what? 7 or 8. Eight to 9. Let's just say that's 10. Just keep it simple. That's 10. If it takes 16, then we know. It's still doing it. So that's 10. $11. $12. $13. 14. In the next round or 2 or even 3, it should kick in. And that's 15, but I could have miscounted, which I probably did. She's not learning this skill any faster. She's at about 17 or 18 right now. Let's end the battle and see if she's over 20. Just out of curiosity. Damn. Well, that then there's a lot of damage. Because she may not be getting anything, which means steal SP is just a waste of your AP. You should just steal item. Other than maybe steal SP is more consistent on hitting its target, maybe, but... What the hell's going on? So I must have somehow miscounted, because there's no way she should be at 29. But, okay, so it is working, I just miscounted somehow. So yeah, it should take 15 steals to hit 30. So yeah, okay, I can live with that. I can work with that. It's pretty easy to work with. Now with that said, what am I gonna really learn with her? Besides that, because eventually we got to start working on her axe skills too, which means fighting enemies and just powering through battles. But we should probably learn steel health and steel dexterity because they're easy. And theoretically, this only takes 30 uses to learn steel experience, and then it's what, 40-something uses to learn Cloak of the Plane? We may as well just learn all of her skills. Because to be fair, and I know that sounds horrible, and that's way overkill, and I may give up once we get to Steel Experience. Once we finish Steel Experience, I may stop. But the idea is that Cloak of the Plains is straight up the most useful skill here. Next to Steel Action. Steel Action is very useful. Steel Health and Steel Dex and Steel Strength are meh. They're okay. They're okay. Steel Experience, we'll have to see how well that works. Cloak of the Plains, though, allows her to hide for a short time, protecting her from attacks. Now, if it's anything like Edward from Final Fantasy IV and she doesn't get like turns, I forget how this works. If she doesn't get to attack too, that's a shitty skill. But the idea is that we'll learn that, and then we'll pick these two skills up for her too while we're at it, which is a lot of grinding. The reason being, I want to see what the difference is between these two freaking skills, because if there's no difference between them, why are they there? But we definitely could use the XP, and then when we start doing battling for weapon skills, we can pretty much use all of our characters in tandem with each other. And what I might do is, like, we'll bring in Hadhod, and then we'll wait a minute, what are we at here? We're at Last Gasp, because we just learned Shield of Courage. He has Fellowship Grace. He has Royal Grace, so he can heal over time. So we're going to learn Last Gasp. As far as his weapon skills are concerned, I don't really care. He's going to attack a lot, so I'm not worried about it. I'd like to get Hadhod up to Spirit Cleave, or at least up to Berserk, because then we're closer. Her, we got to learn these two. That's the biggest one, and then get on to Paralyzing Wounds. I don't care so much about Sneak Attack. Well, I guess not being countered is kind of useful. Paralyzing Wound is more useful. And it's interesting. An attack that briefly stops a foe from making melee attacks and causes damage over time. So wait a minute. Why would I use either of these when I can just use Paralyzing Wounds, which doubles what it is? We're gonna learn them all just so we can evaluate them ourselves. She's learning Valorious Haste, which I don't care for, so we're gonna jump right to Gift of Grey Haven. Even though she's got a little bit invested, but not a whole lot. And then once she learns Grey Haven, I don't care. She can learn Valorious Haste for all I care. So there, theoretically, I could just jump to Water Stallion, and then Valorious Haste will be the last thing she learns in her magic. So yeah, we have a plan. I am also going to put Elaghost in so he can get Grace of Athelas, which will help him level faster too. And Piercing Spirit and that I'm not that worried about right now. And then Pinning Shot, of course, he's closer to the end of his tier as well. Set of skills as well. So we got a mild game plan here of what we're going to be doing as far as building up Morrowind. And we're probably going to gain a couple levels from this, maybe 2 levels or so. Well, once we start learning the weapon skills for Morrowind, she'll probably start learning, start getting XP enough to level 2 to 3 levels, maybe even 4, who knows. But we do need to do a little bit of grinding with her, and she will get better as we get weaponry for her, but right now we just don't have access to it. And so she's really the party's glass cannon, hitting as hard as Hadhog could. That's the potential that we're looking for out of this character. Because you can clearly see she's going to be hitting many enemies multiple times, and she's fast. So getting her usable as soon as possible is going to be big. Especially learning. Again, it seems like she has a lot of redundant skills. So I wanted to learn those so we can really spend some time analyzing the value of them. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Like, comment, subscribe, all the good stuff. Check out my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Studios for more live gaming action. And we will see you guys next time.